some truths are especially difficult to swallow. And that couldn't be more true on November 23rd, when the sun in Sagittarius comes into a square with Saturn in Pisces. Immediately upon the sun's ingress into Sagittarius, the sun is going to come into a square with Saturn, who is also at 0 degrees of Pisces. So immediately, right off the bat, we kind of get this transit that says, it kind of flattens us a little bit. It's kind of, sun square to Saturn can be kind of a bummer. It can be a buzzkill. It can be a reality check. It can be something that kind of just snuffs your candle out a little bit. It can just be, we're hoping that the sun in Sagittarius gives us some warmth, some energy, something to feel joyous and optimistic about. But Saturn is saying no. We don't get to feel that yet. Maybe towards the end of Sagittarius season, we'll feel that a little bit more, to be determined. But yeah, Saturn in a square to the sun can just feel like a total bummer. So if you're feeling down, if you're feeling like you can't look away from the problems, that is what this transit is all about. I remember feeling on the Saturn station, just I couldn't go about my normal life because I was just feeling so affected and pulled in to everything that was going on the other side of the world from me. And so maybe you might experience this in that way as well. But another way that you might experience that is, in your personal life. That could totally show up in your personal life of just feeling like you're getting a no that day, or you just don't have the energy, or you just can't muster the excitement level, or you can't just, it's harder to find something to smile about. So something that I always recommend with the sun square to Saturn is find something to be grateful for, because that's always going to help kind of like pull you out of whatever hole you've fallen into. Find something to be grateful for, and that can serve you in the highest way, coming from the sun in Sagittarius. It might be hard to find something to feel grateful for. It might be hard to find something to feel hopeful about for that moment. But luckily, this is a transit that we're only going to feel it for a few days. We're going to feel it most intensely probably on the 22nd when the sun first enters Sagittarius. But it's going to feel like, your bubble was burst. Okay, we're in a Jupiter sign, and maybe you were feeling good about something, and then Saturn kind of bursts your bubble and says, nope, you got a bad night's sleep last night. So now you don't have the energy that you hoped you would for this day that you've been looking forward to and made all these plans for example. Something else I just want to point out with Saturn in Pisces is that we've known that Saturn in Pisces is going to cause water issues. So we've seen that show up in natural disaster since Saturn has entered Pisces. We've seen concerns about access to water and the availability of water and the contamination of water. We've seen that peak. We also saw, that submarine experience where everyone kind of started putting themselves in that situation and were concerned about. It brought some level of concern with the water. So I have been seeing some stories with like boats being blockaded that were trying to get supplies over to Israel. There was like a protest and they were blockading it down in Australia. So I have seen some naval stories going on there with the sun, with Saturn stationing in Pisces. And also the issue of availability of water and food for civilians in Gaza right now. I know that is a crisis at the time of this recording, as well as healthcare being a general issue with Saturn in Pisces. We may expect to see more of that. I know there's a lot of concern right now at the time of this recording for the people in the hospitals in Palestine. So yeah, that's something that we definitely want to watch and be sensitive to as we see this sun square Saturn. Sun could be leadership. Is there something that the leadership and involvement can do to kind of remedy some of the suffering of the civilians going on? So that's just something I just want to put out there for us to pay attention to and watch for as the sun comes into a square with Saturn on the 23rd of November. And maybe we see water issues showing up elsewhere. That's something that we want to look for there. So there may be a hard truth component to this transit. There might be difficulty with leadership and accountability with leadership. That's another big one. There's like a hardship for leaders right now. It's like there's something where the people are angry with the leader, or the leader is taken out, kind of thing. So yeah, it may be like having to take the hit for the team kind of situation. So it's going to show up for us all in different ways. It's going to show up on the world stage in a much bigger way, I think, based on everything going on. But yeah, I hope that it is overall a constructive transit for you, and it's not just feeling bummed out. I hope it's constructive. Saturn, it always wants us to do something about it. So whatever you're feeling, find the solution. What can I do to move this energy? It's mutable. We can move it. And there's always going to be two ways to handle something. There's always going to be two ways to look at it. So I hope that it ends up being ultimately constructive for you. And that was your astrology shot of the day. Bye. Thanks so much for tuning in with me today. For a deeper look at how the planets are lighting up your life, you can book your next astrology reading with me, and we'll take a deeper look at your progressions, your perfections, your solar return, so that you can go forward with a greater deal of confidence and preparedness about what lies ahead. I look forward to connecting with you, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.